So I watched this YouTube clip about Lady Gaga and Oprah recently, I guess in December or somewhere around the time of New Year. Oprah and Lady Gaga had a Weight Watchers seminar or something like that. Is my camera crooked? They had a Weight Watchers seminar. I am like with bricks or tiles, so I guess I should probably be somewhat straight, I guess. I can't tell. But Lady Gaga and Oprah were talking about this thing called radical acceptance. I thought it was new. I was like, radical acceptance, like why is it radical? And that's what we're gonna talk about today. I'm Devon. This is Talking with You or Talk with You by Devon. And I'm drinking my coffee. I'm trying to get, my shit together. But I'm not caffeinated yet. So my ideas have been firing, but they've been just brewing up. They've been stewing. They've been cooking up, like a trap house. But this coffee is so good. I'm like, So I am radically accepting that I have high blood pressure as a 31-year-old man. And I always have had it, even as a kid, and they always thought it was white coat syndrome, and then it just never resolved. And it is scary, to say the least, having multiple illnesses at such a young age. But, nothing keeps me down because it's my spirit. That's what I realize, is that all of this coming out of me is not negativity. It's all just my spirit. And there is a balance in there somewhere, but I have to unlearn all the fucked up shit that you learned to put you in this place in the first place. And because I was adopted at 10 months old, and I believe that was the fourth family I had been with within 10 months, there are things I can pinpoint that I have no control over, that I just have to accept as my truth and my reality, and accept the fact that everything that I've experienced has led to this moment, and then and that it couldn't have gone any other way, because had it gone any other way, you would not be in this moment, and you don't know what the other moments would be like. So therefore, there's probably some cosmic choice that you're making on the soul level, so you might as well accept it. And when I heard Lady Gaga talk about all of this the other day, and I guess I can pull a clip on, because I got the iPhone 11. I got paint on it though, because I'm a fake painter. I say I'm a fake painter, but I really have always loved painting and paintings. I'm the kind of man that will go to the museum by himself. But oh my God, I love going to the museum by myself. Do you do that? If you go to the museum by yourself, what is your favorite museum to go to by yourself? I live in Cincinnati, Ohio, so all of our museums are free. So I get 5 museums. We know they're not a lot of them, but I get 5 of them. And they're all amazing. I just love my favorite art period. My favorite period of art, my style of painting is impressionism. Just because it's like a trip. It's like a dream. It looks like a dream. It looks like what my dreams look like. And it's perfectly clear to me. When it's in my head, it's perfectly clear, but it's reminiscent of what my mind's eye looks like. And whoever fucking... I'm just girl, how did you even fucking do that? Let me see if there's a good...
I consider myself a spiritual, religious woman. I don't go to church every Sunday, but I do pray every day.
I'm not gonna show my house. But Lady Gaga... And I don't know if it's copywritten or not, but let me see if I can do it without showing my whole dirty kitchen, showing my ceiling.
Once I became famous, I thought to myself, well, I will, and want to continue making music. I will and want to continue.
She has all of
being in
these
movies.
insightful things to say. It's very
I
interesting.
want to help people. These people that come.
But the gist of it is because I don't want to get taken down on YouTube because I probably just got copyright infringement just now. But it's fine. Fuck y'all. I'm like, fuck your fucking copyright. Like, bitch. I wish I did have some money to fucking pay you. But anyway, Lady Gaga in this clip. It's not a clip. It's a 50-minute talk with Oprah. Like, this is what I'm going to be doing when I'm the next CBS. I'm going to be the face of it, but she just was sitting there looking at her the whole time, like, she was flabbergasted. She was like, wait, you had a psychotic break? Like, she was like, you are sharing this right now? She was so confused, and I can't wait to be Oprah, because I can't wait to be in people's face. Like, you did not, bitch. Like, shut up. But just like we all know, freaking Hollywood is freaking the drug. It's the drug. I blame the drugs, honestly. It fucks with your brain, and it makes you drugs. So like cocaine, very specifically, like cocaine, it throws your brain chemistry off so much that your decisions seem normal to you. And I've learned that just interacting with patients, like just being like, dude, like you're cray cray. When you came in here like that, and now you know, it's like you're creating this whole thing. And I had to radically accept that people do that to themselves, and that I'm just not cut from that cloth. I was not raised in a barn, and I'm very grateful for that. I could have been raised in a barn, or the equivalent of a barn, or no barn. I could have not been raised in any structure. I could have been homeless, or dead, sleeping in my grave, whatever. But so you have to count your blessings. So this is what this talk is about, is Lady Gaga not only went through such a traumatic experience, sexual assault and all this kind of stuff, at 19 apparently, at the hand of probably some decision horny ass, old ass, ugly ass man who was horny and evil, because I forgot that sexual assault is not about sex. It's about power and exerting your power on people. And I don't have that mind. I have to learn this stuff, like, about people. Like, my natural way of like going about life does not include hurting anybody. It just doesn't cross my mind. I'm sitting in a corner talking to you with coffee, trying to help you. That's all I want to do. And so when I hear stories like this, even Oprah's like, she was really sitting in her face like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, this is horrid. But it is what it is, because she shared it. And so she went through a traumatic experience as a young lady, as a young woman, and she never dealt with it. And then she dealt with it, but legally, and was triggered during the legal process. And at that point had a psychotic break. There was a succession of events subsequent, events thereafter. But she describes it as like, basically what I understand from it, because I work in infectious diseases. So I'm not a scientist, but I am a researcher. So I can fucking learn and research anything. Like, I can understand it if I need to. I just didn't go and take chemistry, I just didn't do all that, because we'll see what happens in May. But because you never know. You never know, I might go back and do something, because I am curious. But she had fibromyalgia. And they were like, we don't know what fibromyalgia is. Do you know what fibromyalgia is? Fibromyalgia is a psychological disorder. Basically, it's an immune response to trauma. It's a physical response to your trauma. And Lady Gaga went through traumatic experience, and she suffered through physical pain. It's the manifestation of her trauma. And this is what it means when we're talking about creating, like, we do a very good job of creating, we do a good job of manifesting negativity in ourselves. But if you realize that that same power to manifest something bad, you can manifest something good, or you can manifest euphoria. You can manifest like true happiness. You can trick yourself into believing that you should die. You can trick yourself into believing that you deserve pain. You can trick yourself into believing that you would be better off ... And the opposite is also true. So that is what Lady Gaga was talking about, is that you have the ability to go very low, but you also could go very high. You don't want to do either. You want to be in the middle. You're the observer. You want to be the observer. And this is why the fuck it pisses me off that I'm not normal, because it's like I had to go through this. I arrived at all of this myself. I'm very fortunate that my mind, my higher self, it has been right here. It has never been farther than right the fuck here. And it has been that little voice. It's been the comfort that has made sure I was not fucking crazy. Some people call it the super ego. Some people call it God. So, there has been that informed voice, and I'm getting evidence every day that it was an informed voice, and that I should not doubt myself, and that every decision that I've made I have to radically accept a few things, because that same voice that told me to do that really bad thing also told me how to cope. So, I don't know. I don't know how it works. But seeing Lady Gaga and Oprah, oops, I got creamer. I'm using coconut creamer. That's what I was saying earlier. Radically accept my high blood pressure, because I have to drink coconut creamer instead of cow's milk. Or just fake stuff. I'm trying to like not eat bad shit. But as I'm looking at my kitchen table, that is less filthy. But radical acceptance. Damn, I arrived to this on my own back probably like 10 years ago because of spirituality. Because I live in this world where everybody is like, Jesus is the reason, or Muhammad above all else, or I'm a Jewish person, or I'm a Hindu, or whatever it is, and everybody has their very specific belief, and if you don't believe it, it's like, not only are you going to just like suffer in the afterlife, like in the present, you also are not okay, you don't belong. And this ignorance about how we send off our signals with the expectation that they are received. So if you think a thing or you feel a feeling, you expect that somebody will be able to interpret that thing and that feeling. And that's why like my church like never believed in speaking in tongues like that. Like they did it and they believed in it, but it was only when somebody could interpret it. And the same thing is true. Like it is holy expectation. It is a whole expectation. It is wholly within the realm of expectations that whatever you think, feel, do is going to be received in some way by somebody on this planet or in this realm. And I don't know what that means, whatever that means to you. And that's okay. You're allowed to do things like a tree is allowed to do what it has to do. A bug is allowed to do what it needs to do, even if it has to eat another bug in order to survive. Because the intention is not to hurt somebody. The intention is to like be your unique self. And how do you get to your unique self? You have to radically accept your situation. And when I was around 20 years old, I could have had a psychotic break, but I was fighting these realizations that I was having with also in combination with trying to fit in with everybody else's idea of what I should be thinking. So that was my main problem, was going outside of myself to find understanding when I already knew the answer and I was very sure about the answer. I've always been a decisive person. Like, I've always been decisive. It's so odd. Like, in all my decisions, like even on tests in school, if I ever, you know how you go through, even if I faked every answer and I never even looked at it and I just chose answers by random. And even if I went back and read the question and actually tried to choose the right answer, I would still get it the fuck wrong. It would be like, damn, I couldn't change my mind if I wanted to. And I just started trusting myself, and then I would be like, okay, well then I'm just intelligent, I'm just smart, I just know shit. And but it's like, nah, there's a channel back here, and that channel is your informed voice. And some people call it something else. I call it the informed voice because it has been there, and it is me. I don't know if it's me. I'm gonna call it my higher self or God. I'm gonna call it God. I'm gonna call it the universe, because that's all I know, and that maybe y'all won't cuss me out. But because it's not an alien, it's not a non-human entity. Hopefully, because we don't know. That's the possibility. If it is, that would be cool. Oh my God. Oh, if I could channel an alien, that would be fun. But no, I wasn't channeling aliens as a kid. I was astral projecting. I was floating around watching my mom sleep and the TV on. Like, I was having experiences that now as an adult, I'm like, I never forgot it. And I never forgot it because it was always in the front of my mind. Like, did I? Because I couldn't articulate what I was going through. But basically, informed voice, it's there. You know it's there. You're ignoring your informed voice. You know it's right, but you need to, like, pay for gas and, like, pay for this rent and, like, do all of these things and, like, talk to your mom and do all of this stuff. And you have to, like, you can't isolate yourself. You can't be a hermit. You can't go within and just be like, I have to ignore everybody else in order to fix me. But Lady Gaga shared that if you fail to do that, I talked about this yesterday, the cascading effect of not dealing with your overwhelming feelings, whatever they are. And they can be as bad as sexual assault or as stupid as a test or something. You know, you're just stressed out about school, something that you signed up for, something that you pay for, and something that you can choose not to do. You still get flustered or whatever it is. You're allowed to feel that because that's normal. But what is abnormal is ignoring it. The presence of the Lord is here. I don't have to worry about that. You know, like, that is not how you deal with it. This is my favorite emoji, basically. But that's why a lot of people rely on religion. I'm looking outside because it's the morning and people are walking and driving. But you don't have to ignore your feelings. Lady Gaga suggests that you address your feelings sooner than later, because not only does she have to take a lot of medicine, she has to, because the electricity burrows in your brain matter. Your mind is your body. It's like and it creates the pathways and you have control. But once, it's just like cancer, once you get it, it's really hard to undo it. Once you know something, it's hard to unknow something. Once you create a pattern, it's hard to break the pattern. That's why my kitchen is messy. Maybe that's why I'm making a show in it, so I sit here and look at it and feel intense feelings for cleaning. But once you go through the trauma and you allow the trauma to set in, it's like, what happened? Like a stain. If you spill wine, this is like every, Bissell commercial ever made. If you spill wine on the carpet, on white carpet, the first thing you gotta do within a certain amount of time is get the vinegar out. Vinegar, let it, get some baking soda, Tide, and then get the scrub in, and you might be able to save the carpet. Or like a blood stain, for instance, if you clean it up real fast, it doesn't dry, the iron doesn't settle, the minerals in the blood don't settle, and it's good. But if you let it sit even for 30 seconds, then you gotta wipe it a little bit harder than you normally would. And then if you let it sit too long, you gotta get the bleach to really get the stain off. And then if you let it sit long enough, it never comes up, and till the end of time, there is DNA sitting on that table. And that's probably true regardless, now that I think about how the blood works. But the same thing happens with your brain, in your mind. And unfortunately for us, the stains of our emotions are mental illness and psychosis and schizophrenia and borderline, and this, I realize that this chair squeaks, borderline personality disorder, depression, anxiety, all of the things that are forcing you to deal with your emotions is force. You don't have control. You don't have control when you allow the signals you're allowing the signals to control you, so then your body just responds to the signal. If you let go and just let your body deal with it, it will still try to protect itself. But protecting itself is still odd to the rest of the world. Then you just look crazy. You still have to isolate yourself. You still have to be a hermit. You still have to go through all of those experiences. But you can also do that voluntarily. And that's the word today. You have a choice to do it voluntarily. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Oh, I closed my book. I was going to talk about, there was something that I had already. Every new experience contributes to the brain's continuous loop of processing. So that's your mind. From the moment you're born, you've opened your eye. No, from the moment you had enough neurons to fire, you've been creating a record of your reality, even in your mother's womb, and probably prior to that. And we all go through the same thing. Our memories, our fantasies, our expectations, our desires, our hopes, our interpersonal thoughts, our intellectual thoughts, our emotions, our traumas, all of those contribute to this network or matrix of information that we then graft onto the larger experience of reality. All of those pieces of information that go through your brain are all identical. It's like in a computer, it's just everything's a 1 and a 0. Like at the end of the day, it's all boop boop beep boop bop 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 bop, but in different, like it's going like instead of da 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 da, or it's like all these little patterns that it's nature. Come on, somebody! I'm getting chills just thinking about it, about how it's just like, I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, basically, it's a bunch of different patterns, and your brain is completing a symphony of mathematical equations. But like, your math, not like classical math, like your math of your atoms and your like the sum of your, like, say it's like your denominator. Like, so say if you, so in Devon's body there are 10.45 trillion cells, and that is what the big clock is based on. Like in the universe, there are 365 days, so we base our clock on that. In my internal, everybody has their own internal clock, and your brain has, I guess, and this is why it's like a mathematical equation, because there is a sum. And maybe the sum is infinity, maybe the math is against infinity, I don't know. But there is some sort of cycle or something. And memory is like your tape recording. But the tape recorder is not the only tool. So like, say if you, so like a computer or a phone rather, the voice memo is like one part of the whole thing, of like the whole thing. But it's like, but talking through the phone is like the most important part. That's really the purpose it was here, was to record or to communicate. But there's all these other functions and upgrades and OLED screens and oh my god, triple lens system and a front facing camera and a 3D touch and like 1,000 apps and like TikTok and Verizon and all of these things. I'm checking my TikTok because I'm a TikTok whore now. All of these things, follow me on TikTok at Natural Devon. It's so fun. Oh my god, oops. So fun. But, oops. But every experience that you have is recorded like a tape recorder, and it is, it's like a tape recorder because it's in a succession. So like, it's always updating to like be a current version. It's always trying to be the most complete version of itself. And you have to think of it as data. Like when you close your eyes, when I close my eyes, I see like, like I can't explain it. I'm doing it like this. It's like a swirls. That's my data. That is that light inside, that internal thing. And it's probably, there's also data because light is coming in. There's a projector and there's a screen, like your eye, the back of your eye, is like a projector. And this brain, your brain and your mind is going through this process. And every experience you have changes your memories. So it's like a rewriting. So if you never make new memories, you never change your mind. And new experiences are turned into the brain's version of data called a neural signal. So again, it's a process and it's a thing, it's a physical thing. Those formulas or those signals, so 2 plus 2 is over here, 1 plus 1, like each signal adds up to some sort of function, like 2 plus 2 and 2 plus 2 times 4 is over here, like this arm over here and then that arm over there and then this function over here, and breathing is that one. And at the end of the day, they're massive pieces of information, like trillions of times. I mean, it's process, it's math, it's a computer, and we don't even have a computer that can even model this. We just know that it happens because it's anecdotal. We experience it every day. But they're massive pieces of mathematics, and new neural signals are combined and associated with the existing neural signals. So this is why yesterday I was telling you, find hand movements and like go play in the grass and like go do all that kind of stuff, because it reminds you that you live in a bigger environment and that what you're going through is a small microcosm of a larger thing, and you only know that intuitively when you go and interact with the signals in nature. From the moment of birth, your body senses all kinds of things from the environment, like when you taste sweet berries, you know, red or purple berries, or a snack. Your senses are your steering wheel. They tell you where to go. So it's like, and that's one thing that like Lady Gaga, I don't get about Lady Gaga and Oprah. They always talk about the ego. We need to get rid of the ego. We need to get rid of that. That's the Jesus bullshit. That's the not my will, but your wills be done, Lord. Hell to the gnaw. The Lord did not say that to me. It's thine will is thy, you know, it's just like, I'm like a Jehovah's Witness when it comes to religion. It's like, it is what it is. It's like, no, there is no my will. It's the will of the universe. There's a grand scheme of things. And your ego is your survival mechanism. Your vanity, when I look in the mirror, I want to preserve myself. How is that bad? It's not. But it's bad when you want to preserve yourself at the expense of somebody else. Now that is weird. But I don't have that sense. I'll preserve myself to the extent that I'm preserved, but going farther than that is unnecessary. But I was not raised in a barn. So I was raised, I guess I'm raised in a family of minimalists, and they don't even know it. But your senses are your steering wheel. What you like, what is pleasing to you, and what makes you happy, is the only way that you will serve. Yesterday we talked about God gave you this. All these things, God gave you these things to like figure out what the fuck you like. Figure it the fuck out. God damn, I closed my book. Figure it the fuck out. God, you're getting on my nerves. Tired of saying the same thing. No, I'm just playing. I don't know why I'm fussing at you. But I mean, it's really cool stuff. It makes me excited when I realize that like, oh, that's what like Superman and like Wonder Woman. This is what we write stories about, like these superpowers that we already have. Anyway, but those sensations are transferred through the skin or eyes, through nerves, and turned into neural signals. So your senses are the precursor for your expressions. And those neural signals are added to existing brain data to fill in information that may be missing. So I forget shit all the time. And I'm constantly revisiting and making sure that I didn't miss nothing. Because also, our brain wants to sense things and like feel and like know and like do and love and but it also wants to ignore and stop and sleep and go dark and not know and not feel and not do anything and relax. And you know, like there's also the opposite. So you may miss things. Like the reason why you can't see your nose is because it's unnecessary to see it. Why do you need to see your nose? I was thinking the other day, like, I wonder if girls like constantly can see or they're constantly aware of their tits. And it's like, no, because boys are not constantly aware of their penis. It just kind of disappears into the woodwork. It's not disappearing right now, but it kind of disappears into the woodwork. And yeah, you forget that it's there, and then people be looking at your crotch. You're like, why are people looking at my crotch? And it's like, oh, because my crotch is hanging out. But it's normal for your brain to And that's why you have to be mindful so you don't miss nothing, or you record your thoughts so that you can revisit them, so that you can fill in what you might have been confused about. Somebody knows how all this shit works. I think if the Pope does. I know probably maybe somebody at the CIA knows this. Sorry, don't kill me, CIA. If I die, it's the CIA. They killed me. But, and they'll erase this footage, and that's fine. But we are being manipulated. Not by the CIA. I'm sure the CIA is great. I love Homeland. That show's so great. I'm actually going to rewatch it. Because I would love to work at the CIA. Oh my God. If I could do this on like a societal level, like please Lord. But it couldn't be evil though. It would have to be like a grand mission to like help the children. But we're being manipulated, and young black boys keep taking their lives. So that's, a motivation for me to just do this show, because I'm glad I wrote that down, because I am terrified to do this kind of stuff. I hate therapy just like the next person, because no, I don't hate therapy. I hate how therapists don't like to listen, but I hate therapy because I don't have control in this situation. I have no control. I have to do what they say. I have a time limit. It's clinical. All I want to do is just like be whatever. And they're like, no, you got to do it like that. And for some people, that's how it works. Some people, because they were raised in barns or lack thereof, or in no structure at all, they didn't have any of that coping. They don't have an informed voice, or they are so pa over here. I don't know what pa meant. They're so shifted over here that they, weird. They're so shifted over here that I'm just being mindful of my informed voice, because I don't know where the pa, that's weird. That shit comes from out of nowhere. And I don't know where the fucking shit comes from. Like, but I knew what it meant, but I had to interpret it. It's weird. Like, it said pa, but it was really shift. Lord. But all of this is just advanced data processing in your brain. So at the end of the day, you can't be so caught up in like, oh my God, there's an apocalypse. Oh my God, there's fear. Oh my God, because there's a collective consciousness that there probably is going to be an apocalypse, because we're all going to make it true by believing that it's, we're all making it true right now, and it bubbles up from our emotions. It starts from some place that we're not paying attention to, and it gets out of control, and it becomes an emotion, and that emotion bubbles up to the fluids. That electricity is transferred through the fluids and travels through the body at trillions of times a second, and starts affecting the tissues, and then those tissues create their signal. It's just like this whole thing, and it's just happening constantly, and that system is in place as a emergency broadcast, not as the new, the daily news show of your life. And it's a loop. It's a looping equation in your brain, and it's looping because your brain is locked in silence and darkness at all times. You give it information. You give your mind the information to do, like, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and I keep making this motion, but you give it the information, and it's constantly trying to figure out what you mean. What the hell is going on? What do you mean what do you mean the world's ending? Okay, well then let me reserve my, let me get prepared. Let me stay on alert. Oh, we're still on alert? Okay, well, I'm getting tired, girl. I don't know. Why are we on alert all the time? Like, okay. And then one day, like Lady Gaga said, flatline. And not the whole system. the part that you're stressing out the most. It's like a Star Trek ship. That shit still works. I mean, there are plenty of times when they blow up one part and they're like, close it off. Close it off. You know, and they never go to that part of the ship again until they can fix it from the outside. And that was a great analogy. But the whole system still works. They can still keep flying. But one of the engines broke off, and then somebody has to go out there and fix it. Normally somebody from the outside has to come help. And that's what your soul needs. Like when you don't take care, when you don't maintain your shit, like your messy kitchen, now you got to get outside help. It's not that messy. But that's, you know, and I appreciate Lady Gaga for going through this and sharing it with us, because what she's starting to share with the world is that doctors are also realizing that we found areas in the brain that help us survive on this planet and are the same areas that are active during nightmares. So it's like your brain, I said earlier, your memories and all that kind of stuff, your brain doesn't know the difference. It's the same part of the brain. It's lit up the same exact way. And people with schizophrenia have a similar reaction too. So nightmares, schizophrenia, survival, fight or flight, it's all the same part of the brain. You're just like, all the time, but it's the same emotion. And if you realize that is how the system works, every version of reality you experience is real. But it's an image you interpret. And you interpret in a way of a hallucination because your mind is pictures. Now, you're told that it's not. You're told that it's dark and that it's words and numbers, but your mind is an image. Your mind is not shift to the right or your left, whatever. But I guess it's right. When I record it, it's backwards, but I can't tell. Anyway, you experience life. You potentially could experience an hallucination because you experience life as images. You see images. And every moment is your brain feeding you images. So your hallucination, so when you open your eyes, you're not opening your eyes and an image is coming in. You're opening your eyes, you're receiving signals, the tissues take the signals and send a code to your brain. And your brain interprets that code and sends it to the mind. The brain is just like the router. You know, it's not even the girl. It's like the brain is just the hardware, but the mind, the mind is the Wi-Fi, like is the whole system, is the cloud, a system going on. And it's constantly trying to figure out what that image is. It's trying to be like, oh yeah, peace and love, or death and destruction. And it makes a response, because it wants your mind. The purpose of your mind is to like find that thing that like makes you happy and unique, and like how can you survive the longest and how can you live the longest? You live the longest by doing things that you love. So when you're not doing things that you love in real time, you are delineating parts of your reality. You're dictating to your mind that this is what it is, when it's actually not. You're not actually creating a model of what is out here. You're creating an exaggerated model of reality. And that is what led to Lady Gaga's psychotic break. Is that she wasn't dealing with the present moment. She was living this grand life of all of this awesome shit going on, but right here was the most fucked up. And imagine going through that. That's why I'm like, I'm good on money. Like, if you want to pay me, that's fine. But what I'm not about to do is be like, I want to be famous. I want to be sustainable. I want to have the power over my own land to survive till the end of time alone. not actually alone, but if I needed to do that, I would be completely self-sufficient. I want to have like a whole compound, underground and above ground, with hundreds of thousands of people, all working to collectively to just like build an like reality that is reasonable. Just I don't even need an awesome reality, just a reasonable reality. Because what we're doing out here, baby, no sir, no ma'am, girl, no ma'am, no girl. But you're creating a model, so you're creating an image of the. You're telling your mind that things are worse than they are. You're not counting your blessings. You're not being true about what's going on. And sometimes you have to accept that that's what life is. Or you have to accept that that's what life is and that you have to figure it out. That's what acceptance is. It's not like, oh, like, yay, like now it's completely in line with molesters, people that molest other people and hurt other people in a sexual way. Like, I completely am on board. Like, me too, girl. Like, no! The other Me Too movement. No, you don't have to accept that bullshit, but you have to accept that it's a reality, that people do that in real life, and that we should probably figure out a way to avoid them at all costs while preserving our own sanity and happiness. And this is really squeaky chair. I'm going to try to put background music so it doesn't sound like I'm farting the whole time. But yeah, you have to create a model of reality that is like true. It like actually true. Like, I live in a 1-bedroom apartment with vintage tiles and vintage siding. I have the original floor. You know, like, you have to be very just pragmatic. You have to be very Obama about the whole thing. And basically simplify. That's why I just took a shower. I smell great, but you know what I use? Coconut oil. I use coconut oil soap. I use coconut oil on my skin. I use Colgate toothpaste. You know, but I could use coconut oil on everything. Figuring out the things that work for you and only doing those things will set you free. So if religion works for you, if worshiping a white God works for you, hallelujah, hallelujah. But it is a simulation. It's a simulation of what's true. So your sense of self, your memories, your negative feelings, it's all a simulation. And your perception is your reality. Okay? So you're clueless until something happens. And when something happens, then possibilities arise. And you have to give yourself possibilities. You have to let something happen. And sometimes answers are not sought. You just stumble upon them. So, find a mythology that reflects your personal values, whatever that is. Believe that you are being subjected to synchronistic events. Kind of being radically accepting that, maybe this is my soul's purpose. There's a scientist, his name was David Eagleman, and he, is a very brilliant neuroscientist, but he's also a very great writer, and he wrote this book called Some. And it's about the afterlife, and it's all these short stories about like what the afterlife could be, and they're so intriguing. But this whole idea about soul family, but it just begs the whole realization that like it's you, girl. Like, there's nothing external. Like, even at the cosmic level, it's still the fuck you, and that all this paranoia and stuff being picked on and everything. You'll figure out that it starts breaking down, going to hell and all that kind of shit. It starts breaking down, and your defense mechanisms will kick in at that point, and you will become more rational as a result. So that's why when I say no one's path is wrong, you'll figure out what the fuck I'm talking about, because your brain will realize that certain events won't happen, and you'll know when you get there. Or certain events will happen. And then that is how you know that you have to go through this process. It's a process of soul development. Please, just seeing your own thoughts. And eventually, You know, like being alone and being bored, like and meditating and all that kind of stuff is not for the purpose of like connecting with something or doing something external. It's literally so that you can convene with the information that is flowing through your mind right now. And just doing that, eventually you will see that no one else is there. Do you hear anybody in this space right now? No one else is here. But I am very much animated. And you'll start asking yourself, like, will I make my, like when you're alone, like, is this the deepest fear that I have? Like you'll start looking at all your fears. You'll start looking at all your dreams and everything. You'll just start because you don't have anything else to distract you. And when you start going through this process, and even me, like I can isolate myself all I want, but at the end of the day, I start leaning towards choosing thought patterns that make me feel good. Like doing this show makes me feel good. And it is what it is. So you can talk to your thought forms, you can talk to your mind, you can talk to your body, you can heal yourself, you can do all that kind of stuff, but it starts with believing. Your brain is constantly trying to understand and organize all the sensations you give it. So give it good sensations. Give it good things. Put on perfume, even though you're only doing a vlog. It's natural that we give our surroundings an identity. And be mindful of it. Be mindful of your surroundings. Give your surroundings an identity. Sense it. Mindfulness. Identify things. Truth. Identify truth. If you feel pain, tell the environment that you feel pain. Describe to yourself out loud. Hopefully, record yourself so that when you play it back, you're gonna be like, "No, maybe I was exaggerating a little bit." But you're allowed. Choose a mythology. Go read fantastical stories. Go read the Bible and figure out what's true. You'll know what's true. Anyway, I want you to text me. Did you get any value from this? I don't know. I'm still gonna make these, so I don't care if you do or not. Actually, you don't even have to answer that damn question, because that ain't the purpose of the show. The purpose of the show is to share with you what is in this motherfucking book that I wrote. And I was gonna say we're gonna do a clothing haul, but I needed the sunlight. I didn't want to wait till UPS got here, so we're gonna do a clothing haul tomorrow. Another Macy's clothing haul, Macy's part 2. Oh my god! And today, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have a photo shoot with myself. So, you can see my shirt so far. I'm not in shape, but I don't give a fuck. I got a Twitter notification. I'm not in shape, but I don't give a fuck, bitch. Real ass bitch, give a fuck about it. But look at my shirt, girl. Oops. Oop. I'm such a bad model. But yeah, look at that. All that junk, dude. Anyway. Well, we gotta sell something. How else am I gonna get an influence? And I'm not gonna be an influencer because I'm a researcher, so. I'll go have a talk with Oprah, but I'm not doing this. I'm on TikTok. How do I get distracted on camera while I'm on TikTok right now? Anyway, I'm going to go be on TikTok for a while. And I don't get it. Wait. Why is this? Anyway, I don't know why this person is showing me that. Oh, my likes. I'm sitting here like, why is this not my TikTok? Like, why am I looking at these? I was looking at my own likes. But I love TikTok. It's fun. It's really fun. And, I got to upload this video because it's an hour long already. Fuck. Bye. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.